All right, folks, come on in. Come on in. Plenty of seats. Jay and Ron don't bite. I understand the appeal not to sit here.
I don't know. Ron grows on you.
No, he does. It's not him. Come on in, folks. All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Come on, we're on the eve of a summer camp season. In but a week, there'll be 2,000 scouts that come through this camp and this field. And this is the level of enthusiasm we have on this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, that's better. That's better. No. So welcome. Those of you I haven't met before, my name is Pat Boyd, and I'm the director here at Jay & Webster. And this is an exciting time. We're about to begin work on what is probably the largest capital investment into the camp since the camp was built 60 years ago today, or in a week is the official, when the official ribbon cutting happened of the camp in 1964. So it's really exciting. I'm just kind of looking around here. Is there any folks that were here in 1964, that first season of camp, probably as a camper? All right, I see a few hands. Let's hear it for them. As I joke with people, everything changes and nothing changes when it comes to camp. But, scouting is not the same that it was in 1964. The principles, the backbone, and all that is very, very similar. We're still trying to push kids to be prepared, but kids are different, and the world is different, and being ready to be productive members of society has changed, and the camp has evolved with that. So this is kind of the first of a series of things. In my day job, I actually go to these things a lot. And for the first time, it's actually nice not to follow Dick Blumenthal usually. It was written down somewhere that a groundbreaking is really just a giant pep rally for adults, for the project, and for the cause. So if you came out this morning, welcome to the pep rally, and we'll kind of move things along. There's a few people I do want to point out and just kind of introduce, and if you could wave your hands or stand up and recognize. We have a number of members of our camp staff here that are beginning the hard work of summer camp. The junior staff is actually checking in right now and getting into their tents where they're going to live for the next 7 weeks as well. So members of our camp staff, you can just raise your hand and be recognized. There we go. Thank you. We have members of the Perry family here as well, Peter's children and grandchildren and others. So Perry family, if you could just raise your hand. Thank you. We have a number of members of our council's executive board who work year-round to make sure that we have membership in the organization and we have finance to do all the cool things that we want to do in scouting and camp. So if board members, if you could raise your hands and be recognized. We have a number of members of our council's professional staff who take all of the great ideas the board comes up with and implements them into what is a really good council in this country, and that being the Connecticut Rivers Council. So members of our professional staff, if you could raise, thank you. We have some of our community leaders here as well. I want to thank Chief Varga and the officers of the Ashford Volunteer Fire Department, who we hope not to use you much this summer. I'm going to knock on wood right now. But thank you for what you guys do. The chief was just telling me he was a camper here and the family's connections to all that. So thank you for that. We have Bill Folletti, who's the first selectman here in the town of Ashford. Bill, thanks for joining us. And we have another group of contractors and folks that are going to support the project that Randy's going to talk about in just a second. But, the thing about scout camps is that they're kind of magical places that don't just happen on their own. It takes a team of volunteers that support what happens, that are champions, that are always out there looking for the next good thing, and we have that with the Friends of Webster. It takes a dedicated council board to push the vision along. and it takes an amount of people that want to believe in the project. And one of the great things that we have here is that those worlds have all collided, and there's really good stuff going on. So even after today, and when this camp is in prime condition in about a week and a half, and we have our first kids here, I do invite you all to come back and see the good work of why we do all of this. First, I want to introduce Randy Becker. Randy is a longtime volunteer. I first met Randy in 1998 when the camp director at the time said, "Hey, there's a guy I know that just moved into the area, and he can do some things to help us." And he brought Randy to dinner and his son at the time. And who would have known, Randy, that you would have been sucked into something that 25 years later, and Randy is volunteering his expertise in his role. He's recently retired as the project manager for this. He's also serves as a volunteer as the council's engineer. I want to give him a chance to talk about the scope of the project and who's involved. So thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Pat. So Pat said I was brought here 25 years ago by somebody, and I was introduced as the guy who could set up the teepees. So to this day, or to this year, I think I'm still the guy to help set up the teepees after 25 years. Personally, I've been in scouting for 58 years this year, so that's, I'm an old guy just like, you know, some of the others. But I retired last July, and I was a project manager, construction manager for most of my career, a professional engineer, and I've done since 2003. I think was my first project at the dining hall septic system. I've done a numerous amount of buildings and septic systems throughout the camp, and so now I was asked to take on this project as the project manager. This is a large project. This is not a simple, you know, do a few things, get some volunteers and put it together. This is a major project, and it needs major support. And as you can see here, we have that. We have major support. First and foremost, we have the Perry family, who without them, none of this would have been possible, for their generosity. So I'd like to, again, thank them. And so with this kind of a project, it takes a whole team of people. It takes a lot of ideas, and it's going to take a lot of cooperation to get it through. Here we are, it's just starting summer camp, and we're going to be groundbreaking. And you know, you can see we have a challenge here keeping scouts away from the construction. And really, it's a good thing for scouts to see construction, because it's a good thing to get involved with. I mean, trades are, everybody knows trades are the way to go. We want young kids to get involved with trades. So as a trade school teacher myself and some others, I know Hoss is a trade school teacher, you know, we like to see young people get involved with the trade. So that's another good reason to have this exposure. But again, about, I'm going to say it had to be 10 years ago. I know Peter Perry and Pat had talked about this sort of project and where it was going to go and what it was going to be shaped like. And I remember drawing a thing on a whiteboard in the conference room, looked like a wing, you know, like a V shape. And we had all kinds of concept ideas. This is going back years. And we really didn't know exactly when or where or how. But I know it was Peter's vision with Pat. They talked about it extensively. And so finally, about a year ago, Pat sat me down and said, you know, we're really going to do this. He gave me a napkin with a few scratches on it, and he says, here's what we want. Can you do it? And so, well, we can do it. It's where, you know, where, how, and who. So we kind of put it together. I asked my very good friend Steve Jager. Steve, want to raise your hand? Steve is an architect. He's a friend of mine, and I've worked with him for years. And he's helping us. He's actually the designer of the building. So let's give Steve a hand. Okay, so we got a hold of Steve, and my friend Jim Smart was another scouter. He's an Eagle Scout. He helped with some of the mechanical, electrical, plumbing design. And well, to make a long story short, about 26 pages later, we had full-size drawings. And it went through several iterations. It went through the town. The town had made some recommendations, some suggestions. We worked with the fire department on where we're going to put a dry hydrant. We worked with the town on use groups and how we're going to make things safe for everyone. It's completely accessible, and it's in a spot where it's centrally located at camp with a major parking lot to relieve the congestion over there, because that used to be like the check-in area at the dining hall near the camp master's area. And so that was a dead-end parking lot trying to get in and out of there. Now we have the big parking lot area where the camp master will be here off-season on weekends. And so this building is a combination of a health center where the nurses will stay during the summer, and treatment rooms and so on. There's no doctor, but it's a first aid type of thing or hurry case type of thing. We also have the museum that will be moving into the building on the lower level. It's going to be at least twice the size of the existing museum, which is now being used as a trading post this year for the summer. And then upstairs is Pat's offices and the whole camp offices section. So the existing camp office on the hill may be repurposed for staff or some other reasons. And then, of course, the trading post will be the highlight of the building, because a quarter of the building is a trading post. On the upper level, there'll be a 40-foot patio that extends out over here on the ground, and then up above there'll be a 20-foot deck that's covered. So when someone wants to get an ice cream cone or a drink or something, popcorn, what have you, it'll be centrally located. They'll see it. They'll see their friends. It's a good place to gather. There'll be good seating areas inside, undercover, or out in the sun, whatever. There'll be. It's actually going to be a store inside, but there'll be a sliding window on the outside on the deck, so they can come up like a transaction window and get a candy bar or whatever they're getting. So it's pretty exciting to see this much activity in one building. But if you think about it, the nurses station was way down toward the waterfront, going down the road. The trading post was here in an old 1950s, 40s.
Repurposed carnival shed from Willimantic.
From Willimantic. It was old when it got here, and it stayed here 60 years. So it's probably 80 years old, it was. And then, of course, the museum was our double wide trailer, which we took out the bearing wall and put in a beam a number of years ago. It's a big open space. It served its purpose, but it's a temporary building. So we're going to give it a permanent home. And of course, the offices were sort of outdated, maybe not enough room. Now we're going to have modern offices, and we have Ray work. Ray, why don't you raise your hand? You're going to be one of our subcontractors doing the data and the what do you call it? The teledata and the IT.
Data plumbing.
Data plumbing. Okay. So Ray's going to be taking care of that. Where's Jimmy? Jimmy Morrison, why don't you raise your hand? Okay. Jimmy is our site work contractor, and he was selected from a few different bidders, and great guy, good recommendations. Obviously, he's starting to work in here. He's just stripped some topsoil the other day. He's got some silt fence up, and we're looking forward to working with him. He's getting ready to dig the hole so that our concrete guys can come right in. We're trying to get them in as early as we can. And just as an update, I'm working with Austin, particularly in getting subcontractors to come out to the camp so we can do scope reviews and do our selection as to who's going to give us the best bang for the buck type of thing. Make sure that the scope is complete and We'll do our selections. We're writing contracts. They're giving us insurance certificates. They're giving us W-9 forms. We're doing this totally in a legal manner. And I know Stephen Smith, we've talked about how we're doing this. I have a budget that we're using, and we're Sean Fogel is helping us with the budgeting on this project and how money's going to, bills are going to come in and how people are going to get paid and so on. So we came up with a cost code list, and we're going to handle these expenses very carefully. So again, just in closing, I would like to thank the family once again, the council, the Friends of Webster, who's been here and helping us with getting ready for this project and probably be working with us throughout. We have the very generous vendor here, Bob Sanford. Why don't you raise your hand? From Sanford and Hawley. He's on our council executive committee, but Bob's generosity, yeah, we're paying for materials, but probably at a loss to Bob. He's furnishing a lot of the lumber, the trusses, the framing materials, the pressure treated, probably the flooring, the siding, quite a few things he's furnishing for us. And we want to thank him. I want to give him a round of applause. He's really been. Okay. So, Patrick, that's all I had to say. I'm very excited about the project, and our target date is next April to finish. So.
Thank you. Because of the scope of the project, we said to Randy, we want it to be worth it for you. And Randy said he's never taken a dime for volunteering for scouting in 50 years, and he's not about to do that. So I'd like to publicly offer you an extra pancake at breakfast for the next 7 weeks in lieu of services. Real maple syrup. Yeah. Next, I want to invite the council's key three forward. But before that, I would be remiss if I'd introduce and give us a round of applause. Mark Schweitzer. Mark is going to be the new Scout Executive CEO of the council in July. And we happen to align his house hunting schedule with this. So I'm glad that it worked out. And welcome to the Connecticut Rivers Council. Next, if our key three could come forward, Shannon Smith, our board president, Bob Sanford, council commissioner, and Stephen Smith, our scout executive. Come on down.
You're on the list first, Stephen.
Oh,
You're
no,
first.
go ahead.
I'm first.
You're first. Always.
Always. Yeah, I don't know about that. Hi, Shannon Smith.
Okay.
I'm consistently amazed at the dedication and generosity of volunteers and staff in this council, and it's great to see you all at such a wonderful event and pep rally. I was never a cheerleader, so I'm not going to be yay rah, but pep, I'll try. That's Stephen. Yep. And Bob's clearly paying for everything, so other than the Perry family. I'd really like to thank the Perry family, in supporting your father and your grandfather's love of scouting and the vision that he had, and just dedication to scouting is just amazing. And so thank you all for generously donating, the funds to be able to have this building, which will be used by so many, young children and young adults in this community. It's so nice to have families like yours who are willing to volunteer and donate. So thank you. And then I'd also like to thank all of you for celebrating scouting. It's such an important program and raising young adults who are leaders in the community. And without facilities like this and summer camping, we wouldn't be able to do half the things that we do to raise strong adults. So thank you. And I also like to thank Stephen, because this is probably his last big dedication project. You may not even see him again after today, because let's be real, he's off to Vegas. So thank you, Stephen, for all of everything that you've done for this council over the last 13 years. 13 years. So thank you for everything that you've done. And also like to welcome Mark and his family. I think Laura and Ellie are here with him. So we look forward to more events like this so in the future. So thank you all.
Thank you. Bob?
On behalf of Connecticut River Council's commissioners and our many and varied units, I welcome you here this morning. After Randy and Pat and Shannon, I really don't have a lot to add other than a thank you to Randy, Austin, Pat, and the others and Stephen that helped get us to where we are today, which is a great accomplishment. Also, a big thank you to the Perry family that is making this all possible. Your dedication and commitment to scouting is just outstanding. You all exemplify and live by the Scout Oath and Law and are role models to us all. I'm pleased that I have a brother, my twin brothers, my business partner, and that we are able to be a part of this project. And I look forward to seeing the project come along over the next few months. And I'm just so pleased that when it's done, Connecticut Rivers Council and J.N. Webster are going to have a state-of-the-art facility that's really going to set us apart from other camps and also provide a nice home for a variety of different uses for the camp. So, all right, thank you.
Thanks.
I guess I'm going to approach it a little differently. Peter and I go back about 23 years ago. I got to meet Peter in Camp Massaweepy. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I was a brand new area director for the Boy Scouts, and I got told, just go down to the basement. At the bottom of the steps, there's a room. There's a bunk in there. Just hop in there and you can sleep for the night. They didn't tell me I was going to get to stay with Peter. They didn't explain to me that Peter liked to sleep a lot, and I was interrupting it as I was just driven in from Erie, Pennsylvania to get to Massaweepy in time to do the welcome from National and thank you for coming to camp school. Well, I had the excitement. He didn't. But years down the line, I got to really appreciate Peter, and there was a guy named Doug Fullman that it was the Peter and Doug show that went from camp school to camp school. Doug would go and open them. Peter would follow midweek. He'd close them down, and they did that all out through the Northeast region for years. And everybody knew it was the Peter and Doug show, and they each had their minivan that they packed up all their stuff. And I say that nicely, but if you know either one of them, if there was a candy wrapper or anything, they saved it. They were hoarders. They could have made a TV show about hoarding. But I got to tell you, when I got to this council and found out that Peter was here, Peter was on the Treasury Committee, and that was always something that he looked forward to of explaining to me I wasn't spending enough money in camp, of which I had only been there a couple of weeks. But
Which I've carried on that tradition of Peter's memory.
And I still remember being up in the White House and sitting in Pat's office and being basically ambushed by Peter and Pat about this new building that was going to go in. And they shared their vision. And it's just really great that that was one of the first meetings I was in 13 years ago. And to see that come to fruition now, to see his vision and Pat's vision put together and all of the volunteers that have come together and the companies. And it's just the one thing about the council, and Mark, you'll appreciate this, I have yet to call a vendor and be told no. It's just, this is the type of community it is. It's the type of volunteers that we have. They answer the call. It's like the old fire station of the horses hear the bell and they come running. And that's exactly the way the volunteers of our council are. They hear the bell, they come running. What can we do? And that's a testament to everybody that's here today is you truly do make the difference. So please, as I say goodbye, welcome Mark, Laura, Ellie to the family. It's a great place. Take care.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Bill Folletti as the first selectman of the town of Ashford. Welcome, Bill.
Is this one going to yell at me?
No.
Okay.
That's Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Pat. It's nice to see you in one piece. You know, the rumor is the most dangerous place in Connecticut is between Dick Blumenthal and a camera. Camera. So I'm glad he survived. Thank you for the invitation to be here today. I'm very proud to be a part of this. This camp is an integral part of our community, and we're very proud of it. It's hard to come by an individual in town that hasn't been affected or have an immediate family member affected by the presence and what all of you folks do with this camp. So I'm going to be very brief. I just thank you for what you do. You're obviously a big part of our community here, and we welcome your biggest expansion in 60 years and look forward to working with you on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill should be happy too. The legislature left the funding for the community increased and flat in some areas. So, yeah. Next, I'd like to welcome representatives of the Perry family force. I don't know all or who's the spokesman, but please feel free to come forward. I think Matthew, I think you were elected. And I will just say, as Matthew comes up here, you know, as we're working through all this stuff, Matthew and I have been in communication, and he's been nothing but supportive and helpful, and I appreciate your partnership with this as well.
I'm not going to say a lot. I mean, most of you know our father in scouting a lot better than we did. He was out here all the time. I didn't even know about the little projects that he was doing here every year until just a few years ago, because he doesn't talk about himself. And he had mentioned people wanting to name stuff after him, and he always said no. Like, well, he's not here anymore, so we're going to get the building. Yeah, I was on staff here, I think 81 and 82, and like I said, everything changes, nothing changes. So I'm glad there's not a mimeograph machine up there anymore. Ray, I hope you're not going to have a new one, or maybe in the museum, as my sister said. Yeah, so this was his vision, and towards the end, he was kind of rushing and talking to Pat a lot, threw out a lot of ideas. And I think last year when we were here, there was talk about putting the building up in the woods, which requires removing trees. So down here, removing fewer trees, that would certainly make our father happy. And we look forward to seeing the building complete and with his name right on it where he doesn't want it. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right, and now it is the official groundbreaking. Now, somebody said, more than one of you came and said, "Hey, look, the ground's broken." That was the unofficial groundbreaking. All right, so we're about to do the official groundbreaking, and there's a little bit of a routine to this. The military department, when they do this, have it very categories down to the second. We don't need to be that way. But those of you with cameras and what have you, if you could come up to this part, we'd like to have the Perry family please come first. And there's a requirement, even though there's no chance you're going to get hit in the head of something, you have to put on a helmet. So if yeah, come on up. So we will officially,
And we will take pictures.
oh, that's right.
Nice hard hat.
Yeah, you know, official J and Webster hard hats, by the way. Here you go. All right.
Safety glasses?
Oh, Stephen, you're putting on a hard hat. All right, so if you guys could go behind the pile here. Yep, there you go, Bob. So you're going to come around the back here. Randy, if you could come up, awesome.
You have it tight?
All right,
Stay
so
on
kinda,
when you look down.
everybody grabs a shovel. It's a little bit of a routine to this. All right, come on up. This will be yours.
Oh no.
There you go. This will be yours.
I'll do it reverently.
And then Stephen, Shannon, Bob. Come on up. There we go. Yeah, Randy's gonna get one. It's all right.
I'm just happy to see they're all
So
over
you're
right
gonna
now.
stand on the side.
So
All
far.
right.
So far.
Hey, Pat.
Yeah, where are you at?
What's that? The ceremonial shovel?
That's right. You gotta use
All right, so photo people, come right up to the podium here.
no one polished that up.
I'll take the risk on behalf of the group. All right. So the first thing, all right, we're gonna hold your shovels down and smile. All right, I'm an expert. I'm an expert. All right, the next thing you do is you take yourself a load of stuff and you hold it up. The next photo.
There's rocks in there.
Yeah. All right, everybody smile, look forward. All right, and then a count of 3, we're gonna drop it in front of us. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And then we all clap. Yay!